For years, people only believed one thing about Teslas. If you supercharge too much, your battery's gonna get destroyed. At first, it makes a lot of sense. High volts in your battery, extreme heats, and super fast charging. Even the scientists expected this to accelerate battery degradation. But then researchers analyzed over 13,000 Teslas, and the results completely shocked them. Which raises a bigger question. Is supercharging your Tesla as bad as they say? The internet has treated supercharging like a silent battery killer for multiple years now. And honestly, there has been good reason to think that, because lithium-ion batteries do degrade. Every phone battery, every laptop battery, and yes, every EV battery. That part is just unavoidable. So naturally, people are gonna assume that blasting massive amounts of electricity into a battery every single day would destroy it faster. Even battery scientists expected that outcome. But now we have some data to show whether this is true or not. To understand why this study surprised people, you first need to understand why fast charging should be bad. Lithium-ion batteries hate three things: heat, extreme voltage, and stress. And you guessed it, supercharging creates all three of these. So when you fast charge, you're pushing huge amounts of energy into the battery incredibly quickly. That creates heat, chemical stress, and over time, battery degradation. Or at least that's what everyone thought. Tesla owners were constantly warned, don't supercharge too much. Only charge to 80%. Use level 2 whenever possible. Some people even believed regular supercharging would destroy the battery in a few years. The problem is almost no one had large-scale real-world evidence. Then a company called Recurrent analyzed over 13,000 Tesla vehicles. They compared Teslas that supercharged constantly against Teslas that barely fast charged at all. And the researchers expected to see clear differences in degradation. But then something weird happened. The degradation curves almost completely overlapped, meaning the heavy superchargers weren't degrading dramatically faster. No statistically significant difference in range degradation. That was not what researchers were expecting to find. The answer is something most people completely misunderstand about EVs. The charger does not control charging. The car does. Modern Teslas are basically giant battery management computers. The battery management system, or BMS, is constantly protecting the battery. It controls charging speeds, temperature, voltage, thermal limits, charging curves. In other words, Tesla doesn't let superchargers endlessly blast power into the battery. The car is constantly limiting and adjusting the charging to reduce stress. That's also why charging suddenly slows down above 80%. The car is intentionally reducing speed to protect battery longevity. And this is where Teslas have quietly become years ahead of what most people realize. One of the biggest breakthroughs is something called battery preconditioning. Before many Teslas arrive at a supercharge, the car starts preconditioning the battery. It heats or cools down the battery to the ideal temperature before charging begins. Why? Because charging a cold lithium-ion battery too aggressively can cause something called lithium plating, which will permanently damage the battery. So Tesla tries to avoid that before it even starts. The system is also constantly changing the speeds based on the battery temperature, state of charge, battery age, and environmental conditions. This basically just means that modern Teslas are actively protecting themselves in ways older EVs never could. But there's a very important nuance here. The study does not say supercharging causes zero degradation, and it definitely does not mean batteries are immortal. All lithium-ion batteries degrade over time. In fact, Tesla batteries still lose capacity over years of use. But the surprising part is this: frequent supercharging did not appear to accelerate degradation nearly as much as people expected it. At least, not yet, because most of the vehicles studied are still relatively new, about 5 to 6 years. So researchers are openly saying that we don't really know what happens after 10, 15, 20 years of constant fast charging. Ironically, the things that hurt batteries the most are often not what people obsess over online. Instead, extreme heat, leaving batteries at 0, keeping them at 100 constantly, repeated deep charges, extreme cold without preconditioning, those conditions appear far more stressful than occasional or even frequent supercharging itself, which is why EV experts recommend avoiding charging above 80 to 90% daily, avoiding arriving at chargers nearly empty, and letting the car precondition in cold weather. This entire story says something much bigger about electric vehicles, because 10 years ago, most people assumed EV batteries would collapse quickly. But modern Teslas are now crossing hundreds of thousands of miles with far less degradation than many expected. Tesla claims average battery degradation is only around 12% after 200,000 miles. And if current data holds up, EV batteries may end up lasting far longer than most people expected. So if you guys like this type of content and want to help me out and help me grow this community out, like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think and what you guys have seen. And if you guys are in the market for a new Tesla, my referral link is down in the description below. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.